Welcome class. I am presenting you today the content of Unit 2. Let us just go through the basics, what we have learned from Unit 1, and then we continue the concepts related with customer benefits, what is our logistics value proposition, and in addition, what are the logistics operating arrangements or the basic logistics operations. We also going to looking for the supply chain synchronization with the logistics. So these are all the overall content for the next 3 weeks, what we are going to have our discussion under our second unit, logistics value proposition. As we know, logistics is the one of the most important segment of the phenomena of marketing and business. It is even if you look into the part of logistics, it is subset of or one of the component of our supply chain management. In business functioning, the trader gets order for supply of his own goods or services through his marketing executives or even through directly from the customers, and he has to execute the order in order to satisfy their customer. So what he has to do, the trader or his supplier company prepares a kind of a logistic services, that is procuring the products or services, put label on them, or give some kind of identification trademark name, necessary packing and packaging to save them from the damage or any kind of pilferages threat during the loading, unloading, handling and transportation, and till how it is supplied to the end customer. So in a simple way, it's a bundle of goods finally ready to be supplied to the customer on time as per the demand. So this is the introductory part which we have seen in the previous classes. We also define what is logistics. In a nutshell, what the concept we have learned so far, I put it in a formula format. Logistics is equal to inbound logistics, materials management, and physical distribution. We also discussed many logistics activities, the customer service, demand forecasting. I'm just doing the recap of what we studied, we have observed in the unit 1 in the past 3 weeks. So customer service, demand forecasting, distribution, communication, inventory control, materials handling, order processing, plant and warehouse site selection, procurement, packaging, returning the goods handling, that is reverse logistics, salvage and scrap disposal, traffic transportation modes, warehousing and storage. These are the common words which we have, activities which we have seen. Few areas of business involve the complexity of or even the span the geography of typical logistics. So logistics is a core, and it is very difficult to visualize any marketing or manufacturing activity without the logistics support. And if you look into the definition part, it is a designing and managing of a system in order to control the flow of material throughout the operation. And we also looked into the global logistics, where the role of logistics cost has to be taken care across geographical barriers. And at the time of global logistics, we discussed the choice of transportation, cost of the transportation, the packaging the product for shipment, storing the product, and managing the entire process. I mean, the documentation. And we also discussed this logistics is a subset of a supply chain management where the strategic coordination of all our traditional manufacturing functions, so which has to be taken care by the logistics part. Many other researchers have viewed logistics as a movement of product from point A to B. But logistics is involved at various stages of supply chain, from supplier to plant, plants to distribution center, from distribution center to stores, from stores to customers. Are any of these combinations? When I'm just presenting you the picture of complexity of a typical global supply chain, where we have a supplier supplying his material to a plant. We do have freight forwarding agencies either on the roadway or shipway or airway, which has been reached on the customer warehouse, and the customer or the retailer or the distribution center warehousing unit will make the product available at the customer center. I'm just going to present you a small example of a caselet. That is how the industry leadership was enjoyed by the Cisco systems as the result of logistical competency. So I thought of sharing the cases with you so that we will look into how the concepts what we have learned is really applicable in that specific industry, how that practices have made a lot of tremendous changes in the industry. The company Cisco's sales were growing by 100% year in the mid 90s. The employment was swelling to keep the pace, and supply chain costs were unacceptably high. The product life cycles contain it has to be continued to be shortened. The demands for reliability, flexibility, and speed escalated at an alarming rate. So these are all the dangerous signals which the company is getting. To keep pace, the company undertook a wholesale revamping of its business process, from design and forecasting to raw material acquisition, production, distribution, and customer follow. So the company has created a global networked business model across and multiple departments at the same time. Within this model, the company view its supply chain as a fabric of relationship. The goal was to transcend the internal focus of the information system, logistics information system, or they've used a term called ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, to embrace the network supply chain of all their trading partners. Primary goals were servicing the customer better, coping with huge growth, driving down costs, utilizing the internet is the pursuing single enterprise strategy. What the company is enjoying the benefit. Cisco relies on 5 contract manufacturers for nearly 60% of the final assembling and testing and 100% of basic production. Thorough strict oversight and a clear set of standards, Cisco ensures that every partner achieves the same high level of quality. The company is having 14 of global manufacturing sites along with 2 distributors are linked with a single enterprise extranet. So this has given a lot of benefit to the company. Product now flows from first, second tier supplier without any documentation and the notifications. Contact any kind of contract manufacturers turn out components according to a daily manufacturing plan derived from a single long-term forecast, which was already shared with them through their supply chain. Payment across the different distribution channels occurs automatically upon the receipt. There are no purchase order, invoices, or traditional acknowledgements. In exchange for getting paid sooner, the supplier are required to aggressively attack their cost structure. So what they've used, it's not partnership if you're putting the other guy out of business. The Cisco cites at least $128 million in annual savings from the single enterprise strategy. It has reduced time to market by 20% and it also hitting 97% of the targets. They've reached their customer responsiveness at the percentage of 97. Inventories have been cut nearly into half. Order cycle time has declined from 6 to 8 weeks. Earlier, now it is reduced to 1 to 3 weeks. And they've also used a different training program called replenishment, dynamic replenishment program. Demand signals flow instantly to contract manufacturer. Inventories can be monitored by all the supply chain partners on a real-time basis. And 55% of the product now moves directly from supplier to customer, bypassing the company altogether. So this has removed several days from the order cycle. So this reduces the inventory, labor cost, and shipping the expenses. So for per unit, they'll be able to save at $10, around $12 million per year. Working with different external agencies, the company also took the control of outbound supply chain, allowing for time definite delivery throughout the Europe within 5 to 8 days via a single point of contact. And with the help of Oracle database management system, they've used direct UPS logistics management system. So the company can track the product to destination on a real-time process. The company can track the product to destination on a real-time basis. The extra measure of control also allow the company to intercept, reroute, or reconfigure orders on a short notice. So thorough deferred deliveries. Now Cisco is ensuring that a component won't arrive at the customer's dock until it is ready to be installed. And its outsourcing strategy recently, with the decision to turn over shipping and warehousing functions to another third party called FedEx Corporation. The air, ground, and the logistics services provider will manage the merge in transit operations for direct shipment to end customers, resulting elimination of warehouses, whatever they are keeping at present in the next 5 years. So this kind of logistic leadership, the kind of logistic competency in terms of inventory, in terms of monitoring the data on a real-time basis, resulted a competitive edge, or the other way we say industry leadership. So this example of Caselet has given or proven that companies using a perfect logistical competency, inclusive of the transportation, inventory, warehouse, distribution issues, the company can easily achieve competitive advantage compared with their present competitors. So now I'm taking you to, I hope this Caselet example gives you an idea how you have to apply the concepts of logistics, what we have learned. Now I'm taking you to the next topic of discussion, logistics value proposition. Logistics should be managed as an integrated effort to achieve the customer satisfaction at the lowest possible cost. So this has created a value. So what we need to consider here as value, customer responsiveness is one value, minimizing the cost is another value. So we put it in this value proposition model under two different heads. One is our service benefits, that is customer responsiveness. The other one is a cost minimization. Almost any level of logistics service can be achieved if the firm is willing to commit the required resources. Say in today's operating environment or business environment, the limiting factor we have is economics, it is not the technology. A dedicated inventory can be maintained in close geographical proximity to their major value customers. A fleet of trucks can be held in a constant state of delivery readiness. To facilitate the order processing, a dedicated communication can be maintained on a real-time basis between a customer and the supplier's logistical operation. So with this high state of logistical readiness, a product or a component could be delivered within the minutes of identifying a customer requirement. So this is not related with the technology. With the help of IT advancement, anything is possible. But the company has to consider an important concept called cost minimization. This is a decision based on the cost minimization criteria. The least total cost system design, which includes only two important costs. Can you guess what is the two important costs which we are always talking about in the logistics? Yes, you're right. The transportation and the inventory cost. The total transportation has different facilities. A great many problems may be overcome effectively to examine the total cost, specifically a single planning period, average size shipment, the least total cost solution. We need to plan it. This is related with inventory. The transportation, the cost which determine the economically viable number of locations. The inventory costs modulate both the number and size of the warehouse. So the minimum total cost point for the system is it has to consider the integrated logistics approach consisting the transportation at the one end, inventory at the other end. So where the focus needs to be? Focus needs to be on renegotiating the freight and the shipping rates, reduction in the overall freight cost, streamlining the operations. So how the decision has to be taken by the logistics manager. So today logistics management has gained special attention because of the emphasis on the kind of quality of goods and services. How the entire product has to be delivered with intense price competition. How to control the cost in order to survive in the market. So we may have few steps or a model which I'm going to present you, which will really help us to reduce the logistics cost. So how to go about it? So first one, there are nearly 4 steps in the model. Step 1, which talks about determining the customer service target and organization goal. You need to align both, then computing the current logistics costs. The third step is a very crucial step which is related with benchmarking the cost for performing a given set of activity against their competitors in the similar market. So what new methods can be used as a benchmarking method which will make your organization competitive one? And the last step is keep on developing the lowest cost methods and implementing them on a trial basis, which will meet out all our business standards. Say what kind of percentage of the logistics cost which is added with the manufacturing cost in order to fix a final cost for the product. So the percentage of a logistics cost to the total value added really signify the importance of logistics related activities. For bulk goods, total logistics cost as a proportion of value addition is about 70%, out of which the transportation cost alone is 2/3. So how to reduce where the real cost occurs? So the real cost occurs in terms of 4 major areas: procurement, transport, transshipment, and storage of goods. So when you put together the supply chain logistics cost account for from 5 to 50%, 5% to 50% is the product's total cost. This depending on various industries. So how to reduce it? Because this makes the importance of logistics. So if you look into the procurement, streamlining the sourcing, maybe freight, duties, inventory carrying costs, the brokerage involved in the procurement, all these put together, minimizing the cost occurred in each point. Then order management, understand the various specifications and design order requirements with the supplier, which will help in identifying ways of reducing the cost and also help in reducing the price structure. The other methods, switching to lower price substitutes, implementing any recent material handling methods or just in time, that can lower the company's inventory as well as internal logistics cost, which will also in turn allow supplier to economize on company shipping or warehousing or production scheduling costs. So this part related to procurement. The second one could be transportation, might be selecting an appropriate mode of transportation. In the previous global logistics discussion classes, we also noted down many factors which are contributing. Each mode has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of the four major areas which we discussed: the cost, the speed, the capacity, the flexibility, and safety. So, selecting the optimal mode of transport, that is air, water, or rail or road onto pipeline, which can best suits the quantity and quality of the goods to be supplied and required during our delivery time, which reduces the opportunity costs involved due to the non-availability of the goods at the right time. Okay. The loss due to damage to goods during transit can be avoided, which can reduce a proportionate percentage of transportation cost. Optimum vehicle routing with the help of all operations research based applications. The routing and scheduling can reduce the in-transit inventory. So our various operations research and mathematical or statistical models, short route method, transportation method, linear methods, or the PET and CPM methods can be used for optimizing the accompanying cost. Freight consolidation can also reduce the transportation cost to the greater extent. It involves bringing together a smaller quantity of inventory in order to create a bigger quantity of transportation. And then we have the next thing, transshipment. This mainly involves controlling the express shipping cost. Typically, when a company have an entire shipment sent on an express service level, for which a higher cost is incurred. So this can be reduced by proper planning and by calculating the amount of goods required for immediate delivery by express service and can distribute the cost accordingly. The last one, inventory. To build up the inventory sufficient, capital has to be tied up with for a lengthy of time. So a proper analyzing demand and supply pattern with the help of all new IT platforms, specifically the R language or Python could be used, and the niche of the product, which will result in the reduction of cost that will also help in optimizing the level of inventory. So in the first part of discussion, I've introduced you what is logistics. The second part of discussion, I've just introduced you a case study, how the logistical competency has made an organization to achieve an industrial leadership. Then I've introduced you the concept logistics value proposition, which is supposed to have a trade-off between service benefits and the cost minimization. And I've also introduced you a model, steps for lowering the logistics cost. And then what various ways where we can reduce the cost in the context of procurement, in the context of transportation, in the context of transshipment, and also we discussed in the context of inventory. So now, how this logistics can create a value generation. The key to achieve any logistical leadership is to master the art of matching the operating competency and commitment to customer satisfaction and requirement. So this customer commitment in an exacting cost framework is a logistics value proposition. So you are balancing the cost and the responsiveness in the context. It's a unique commitment of a firm to individual or selected group of its own customer. The typical enterprise seeks to develop and implement an overall logistics competency that satisfies customer expectations at the realistic total cost expenditure. Very seldom, very rarely will either the lowest total cost or the highest customer service constitute. So these two things are the fundamental concepts related with logistics strategy. A well-designed logistics effort must have a higher customer response, ensuring higher customer response at one end, and capability while controlling the operational variance and minimizing the inventory commitment. So now this is possible with the help of significant advancements happen in the IT, in the tools, which will aid the management in the measurement of cost or service trade-off. So what is required here is formulation of sound strategy. What sound strategy? The logistics strategy, yes, which requires a capability to estimate operating cost required to achieve the alternative service level. And this system is also related with overall business units in terms of marketing, in terms of manufacturing, and procurement strategies. So leading firms or leading corporates, they have to realize that a well designed and well operated logistical system can help achieve a competitive advantage. So what I would like to suggest is, based on the caselet example of Cisco, what I have shared, a company that obtain a strategic advantage only based on a logistical competency, which will make the company to be part of or acquiring the industrial leadership in their industry competition. So this is what I would like to present under the context of the logistics value proposition. Thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.